Hello and welcome to episode 31 of New Meta. We're a Dota 2 podcast and I am the Magic T, but you can call me Stan. Joining me today is just my co-host Adam. Marco's away on holiday as it is the summer, so we'll let him off for this episode. We're going to be talking about supports that are meta and sort of the differences between the top tier supports and what they add to the team and whatnot. As I already mentioned, my lone guest today is Adam. Adam, welcome to Ep 31. How are you doing today?
Good. Apparently I'm just Adam. Just.
Yeah, just in the sense that I only have one co-host.
Just only have one, yeah. Not like, oh, just this guy over here.
Yeah, just this guy that I picked up on public matchmaking and couldn't shake off.
Just going to have to carry this pod.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do fine, because it is a somewhat of a specialist subject, supports. It's not like we're talking about crazy tempo mids or some wacky subjects. This is a bit more close to home.
Yeah, or buying back. We're not talking about that, so we don't need Marco.
Of course not. No. It's good to get in the little jibes early while he's not here to defend himself. A classic duo pod jibe. I think there's only one proper way to start off the pods, and that's the way we usually do, talking about the games that we've had. You had RD2O on Monday, or you did or you didn't? Or
technically we did. Our opponent forfeited, did not show, so that was an easy 2-0.
Oh, nice.
5-5 on the season. Our last 3 wins, though, have been from forfeit. So who knows how good we are? I think you could make a case for us being 0-10 on the season, but somehow we're 5-5. So we're still in the hunt for playoffs somehow.
Do you know what record do you need a winning record to get into the playoffs? By the end of the season, if you know what I mean.
I don't know if you have to. It just depends on how the table comes out. Like if you have a bunch of top teams stomping everybody.
Right, okay.
I think it is about the top third to top half, and it's 41 or 42 teams in the table. So I don't know. Probably a 500 record would get you in. So,
well, I mean, I'm sure the New Meta podcast listeners are glued to their chairs every Friday and every other Tuesday waiting for the results of the pod squad games.
I do feel like our next matchup we line up pretty well against them. Like all of our MMRs are similar, so that's good, because luckily this team that forfeited against us had like a ranked immortal like 5.5 plus K mid that plays all the cheese stuff, and I've played against him before, so I was not looking forward to it. Because you just can't ban everything. So we luckily got that 2-0. And then I will say that, so every week sometimes people make some content related to the league, just do like what they think the matchups will, like who will win what, or just team reviews and stuff. And somebody ranked all the team names for all the teams this season. And New Meta Pod Squad, top 2 team name in the league. So we are the number 2 team.
What was the description? Was there any justification, or was it just raw, I like this name sort of thing?
I will find it because I was like, at least we have this.
Yeah.
So that was the name power rankings. And so he said a Wheel of Fortune before and after puzzle makes for a good name. I don't know. I guess you guys have. Well, I guess have you even seen Wheel of Fortune before?
Yeah, I know more or less. Yeah.
They have those before and after puzzles.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. New Meta Pod Squad.
Yeah, number 1 team name was Big Booty Baratham. So.
All right. I'm happy with a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take a second. I mean, me personally, I've been battling through some crazy ping spikes. Keen listeners to the pod will have known that I've recently moved apartments. So I'm spending I'm visiting with my parents for at least a month. So I'm at my parents' house now, and I'll probably be here for another, I don't know, probably month. And I don't know, there's some sort of weird suburban internet package going on here where if some person's streaming or watching YouTube videos or something, then I get these weird ping spikes up to like a 200, 300. It's making my play hell. So I'm battling through that at the moment. So I've been pressing the unranked button a little more than I've been pressing the ranked button. But I did get a Meepo win in though on ranked. That was nice. Went downstairs, shouted, "Anybody using the TV?" Didn't get a response because there was no one in, and I was like, all right, I'm all clear. Can get the Meepos out.
You're just like, Mom?
Yeah. Get off the TV! Yeah. So that was good. That's pretty much how my games have been going. I watched a little bit of Epicenter, the odd game.
Hard to keep up with Euro tournaments. For me.
Just like super early in the morning sort of thing.
Yeah. Just during work.
Yeah.
Work sucks. You're contending with internet. I'm still contending with Discord being blocked on my school's internet. So actually makes communication impossible with anybody. Currently recording this pod on a VPN, but I cannot use the VPN, Discord, and Dota 2 at the same time without getting huge lag spikes. So Steam voice chat. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But then Night Raw got Steam voice chat blocked by wherever he is. So for our team games, we actually have to use Skype, and it sucks.
Oh my goodness. That sounds awful.
But it's the only thing that works for everybody. So
yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, don't get me started on schools blocking stuff, because I mean I recently started like my summer job that I've got, and I'm working at a university just as like staff at the library doing whatever staff stuff. And I'm part of the job is I'm allowed to listen to music or podcasts or whatever. It's the best part of the job. But anyway, some of the podcasts that I have off YouTube, the universities put YouTube in like restricted mode or whatever. And it was frustrating me so much because it invariably, it's a blunt object, and a lot of podcasts and stuff that I want to listen to are completely super normal content, nothing like even remotely controversial, and somehow they come under this restricted mode, and I was like, oh goodness me. And I went on this massive rant to people about university spaces censoring information, and just couldn't be having with it. So yeah, I feel your pain. Hopefully you'll get it sorted out.
I can't even just use the text. I can't even get in. I can't even open it up to just hang out in the Discord, send messages and stuff. Unless I go off of Wi-Fi and go on cell data.
Yeah.
Which I do from time to time, but yeah. It'll happen. Well, it'll get unblocked eventually, and then I will come back.
Yeah.
Avengent.
Yeah. Well, topic for the day. We thought in the episode we'd basically run over a few of the top supports in the meta. Mostly position 5s, looking at the list the provisional list that we've got, some of the heroes that we discuss. But I suppose we can melt some position 4 in there as well. But more or less discussing the differences between these heroes, why, in what situations some heroes are better than others, vice versa, all that good stuff. A bit of an eye on Epicenter, but we haven't watched a ton. I've watched a little bit. You haven't managed to catch a lot because you've been at work and all that. So more or less just sort of the last few months, as well as the tournament at the moment. Top supports. We've seen a fair bit of Abaddon, an Oracle, and Warlock. These are all strike me as extremely defensive supports, particularly those 3 that I've mentioned, which I suppose in itself is interesting. I don't know what you think about Oracle, Abaddon, and Warlock. Do you think they're super popular at the moment because defensive supports are really good, or do you just think the heroes themselves are just really strong?
So Warlock and Abaddon fall under like, especially at level 1. Oracle much later, definitely just allow you to out heal any harass. Abaddon's like hybrid, right? You can be super aggressive with your miscoils and try and kill people, or you can just like pump your carry full of miscoils and they never die. And then Warlock is just pretty good value heal for the mana cost to just spam on your carry. And then Oracle's got great heals later. It's kind of mediocre at level 1, but those are all 3 really solid defensive supports. They give you separate things though in the mid game. So like Warlock, crazy high damage / team fight between Upheaval, Golem, and Fatal Bonds, which is one of the most ridiculous spells, I think, in the game, right? Even after nerf.
And it's even better early now with the changes to the number of things. It's like Warlock used to be this completely the most conservative support in the game, but now with the changes to Fatal Bonds, he can actually dish out some good damage in the lane.
Yeah, it's actually pretty solid just to throw it out onto the wave and hit the 2 heroes, and it's just good harass. It doesn't necessarily push the lane that super fast either, because it is only like, I mean, it scales in damage now. It's like it's something in the teens, right? Percentage damage shared at level 1, so it's not going to push the wave
12.
super high. Yeah, and you can always just like pull and make up for it. Oracle, his mid game though is like super good, like save, good purge, with his false promise. So not as disruptive. Like, you know, Warlock is the big flashy team fight turner, damage output. Oracle's like the save, root people. Maybe you disarm their carry, get a little bit better Roche control with your disarm on Roche. And Abaddon, I mean, in the mid game, I feel like he's so good at the first 15 minutes of the game. I do think he falls off. Aphotic Shield doesn't fall off. Aphotic Shield's always good, but it becomes much harder to be effective later. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, comparing the ultimate abilities of a hero like Abaddon versus Warlock and Oracle, I mean, that's quite a disparity between when you're talking about those 3 heroes in terms of the utility that the spell is going to give you in the mid game and the late game. It's harder to get really good value out of borrowed time. Yeah.
I guess you can just like walk in. You don't have to worry about, blowing up. If you get everyone to blow their spells on you while you have borrowed time, it's super value. Yeah. And Abaddon is, out of these 3 supports, the best at like carrying auras. So it's good from that standpoint. I mean, you can get like a Vlad's or a Drums or something like that.
Another thing about Warlock is, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I feel like I'm seeing some Warlocks starting to like max out their Fatal Bonds, or at least certainly put more points on it than they used to with the changes to it. And situationally, you can max this spell out, or at least go sort of like 1 point in Q, 1 point W, 1 point Q, 1 point, go back and forth, which is, I think, something that's worth pointing out because it's something that's changed about the hero recently, at least from what I've noticed.
Because you become popular again, the bonds is basically what made him popular again, and so people have been maxing the bonds, and that's what I do when I've been playing him a fair bit. At level 7, I'll be like 4-2-0-1, something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like so at 4 you're like 2-2-0, and I feel like that's enough heal in the lane, and it's like kind of a mediocre harass spell because it just lasts for so long. It's a good like chase spell when someone's low because you will like get them, but just like someone in lane I mean, it just depends on the lane, but it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't seem as it's not very mana efficient for the amount of damage that you're doing over the time frame. So I like to have the more points in Fatal Bonds because it's definitely a fight turner if you can get two heroes with it.
You need to think about what hero you're laning with a lot. It depends how dependent your carry is on the Shadow Word. Perhaps if you're dealing with someone that just doesn't provide a lot of kill potential, but needs to just stay in the lane, like maybe the classic Spectre example.
Yeah, Spec is the classic.
Yeah, but if you're with, say, like a Lifestealer or maybe a Troll Warlord or something.
Even like a Venno.
Yeah, Venno, sure. Like, gives you the freedom to put points into the Fatal Bonds because you don't need to support your carry as much with the Shadow Word. And obviously worth thinking about that as well in terms of who you're laning against. How much does the enemy really care about Fatal Bonds? If they don't care much, then perhaps you just play make the safer play and get points in Shadow Word and just don't lose, rather than going for the Fatal Bonds play and actually trying to win the lane.
I don't even know if you max out. I mean, if I feel like you just still stick it at 2, and I think at that point Upheaval becomes a better spell to start leveling. Upheaval is really strong.
Shadow Word definitely does seem like a 2-point wonder. I mean, a lot of people do max it out still, but increasingly people get those 2 points and then leave it. And like you say, a lot of times you'll see people come back to it later, level 15, level 14, or when they'll finish up maxing the Shadow Word.
Yeah, I like it when a hero gets popular again, maybe because of other skill got buffed, and then it changes the way people skill, and then you like have to think, well, because for years it's just you brain dead max Shadow Word, right? And it's like, well, what do these points actually do?
Yeah.
And like, oh, okay, well, I can just move them around. I definitely agree. Like, it should probably be 14, 16 is where you're getting the last 2 points in Shadow Word, because at 15 you're getting the 60 XP talent.
Of course. Sorry. I was just throwing a ballpark figure in there.
Yeah.
Didn't want to suggest you skip the old talent on 15.
The 60%, it's absurd.
Yeah. You need to get your carry to like go through, or you just need to Shadow Word a Creep Wave, nuke it down, and wait a second, I'm level 20?
Yeah.
Yeah. 60 XP, is that the highest in the game in terms of an XP talent?
Yeah, that's the highest. It's a shame it's 15 because you can't. It's really hard. I don't know, the way it's been for me, getting the 15 is pretty tough for any support. So it's like getting close to like 30 minutes, the third set of tome or whatever, for it to really make a difference. I don't know. Kind of just like, should I use the tomes early to get to 15, or should I save the tomes until I get to 15? But then there's a cooldown, so you can't really like save the multiples, Yeah.
The other cool thing about Warlock is in the era of the third Roche Ags drop.
Yeah.
That's always fun. With Warlock running into the Roche pit, demanding you get the Ag synth. That's quite a bonus for support. The
staggering of the golem drops is really nice. Nice little quality of life.
So nice, yeah. So nice.
Gives you a window to throw the Fatal Bonds between them as well.
No pesky Rubik's waiting on your golem drop.
Yeah. Did you know that Fatal, or like the golem drop, does no damage? It just stuns. So there's actually there's no point in Fatal Bondsing until before. Yeah. So it's like because sometimes you try and get the perfect like Fatal Bonds right, and then people get out. It's like better to stun and then Fatal Bonds while they're stunned, because that's when the golem starts swiping, and then you got to make sure you follow it up with Upheaval or something so Rubik doesn't steal. But
I would have thought it did damage though.
So it doesn't do any. It's just a stun. So there's a little tidbit for people.
Yeah, nugget for the listeners. I won't go amiss. In terms of some of these other heroes that we've that I've popped down. I will admit there is a DotA Buff article that came out the other day talking about top position 5s, and if I hadn't read that, I wouldn't have included Crystal Maiden in the sort of list of 6 position 5s that I thought we'd talk about. But having read that, they were hot on the Crystal Maiden, so I thought I'd give it a name check here. Crystal Maiden and joining CM is Grim and Bane, sort of completing the list of top tier supports, at least how we've broken it down this episode. But Grim, Bane and CM don't to me strike as particularly defensive supports, so in a slightly different mould to the Warlock and the Oracle and the Abaddon. Starting with Grimstroke, do you think Grimstroke's only worth picking when you've got synergy, or is this like a first pickable strong support in your mind?
I don't think you need to like go all down the rabbit hole of the Grimstroke single target, but you need, and it doesn't have to be an amazing spell, but you need a little bit. Like you don't need Doom. Stormhammer is enough, or like Laguna Blade is probably more than enough. I mean, just having Lion, just something like that. Even like just smaller ones. I mean, Stormhammer, that's like super solid. And then I feel like his spells are very strong, very, very strong outside of Soulbind.
Yeah, and also I think even if you don't have synergy with Soulbind in itself for the leash mechanic can be really strong against the right matchups. If you're against a Storm Spirit or say a Queen of Pain, then Soulbind, you don't necessarily need any follow-up other than just the silence from Grimstroke himself, and the spell is going to be really good value just in terms of stopping heroes escaping.
You're at least guaranteed Soulbind Phantom's Embrace. Like you do have one targeted spell in your kit, so you do get double silence, which is nice. And then eventually, if the game goes long enough with your 90 GPM, you get Hex. So you do provide that, but it's like you said. I mean, his Q, whatever that is, the inks, whatever that thing is, I should know because I play this hero quite a bit, is one of the best D-push / farming spells on any support. I mean, it's better than Dragon Slave. It gets better the more things you hit. The slow on it is absurd. And then the way I like to do it is with Aetherland's plush cast range talent. Plus, is there another? I feel like there's another talent that buffs your
plus
Q
600 Stroke of Fate cast range.
That range itself. And then you're just nuking things from a million miles away. Like people can't push, they can't even get to you. And you just get a bunch of gold that way. It's not even that you're taking anything, it's just you're stalling the game out to such an extent. And then the Spirit, Phantom's Embrace, actually just wrecks some heroes. Like just obliterates heroes like Quap or Tinker or Storm Spirit. I mean, Storm Spirit doesn't build attack speed. So if you land, I mean, it's hard to land as a Phantom, but if you do, he has to like basically stutter step for 5 seconds trying to get rid of it, and that gives your team follow up. And that's if you don't land a leash. If you land a leash, I mean, that's game over for a lot of int mobile spellcasters, Puck even. And then Inkswell, which used to be the thing that you would max or whatever because it was so absurd in lane, it's like way nerfed now. It's still strong. I mean, if people go on somebody, cast that on them, they're dissuaded from doing it. Or I mean, I've been playing a ton of Spirit Breaker, which is, I think, one of the best supports that we don't have mentioned, but he's more of a 4. But Grimstroke is perfect with him. Like he's charging, you throw Inkswell on him, he gets faster, he bashes up into somebody. By the time his charge bash ends, Swell pops, then he follows up with Nether Strike. And then another one of the strongest lane combinations that if you want to play like an absurd like kill lane, you just play Ricky Grimstroke because you can kill anybody.
Yeah, by the time they get out of the the ghost, the silence cloud, just about when Inkswell's popping. So
Yeah.
life's a good one.
And you just backstab, backstab, backstab. And then you have, I mean, it is sometimes kind of hard to hit the Stroke of Fate, but if someone's stunned, you can hit it. And it's really nice follow up. When someone's stunned, you follow it up and they're slowed after that. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Like you said about the kill lanes, even if it's not Ricky, you know, the hero complements other super aggressive position ones so well, like, you know, Juggernauts or even your popular heroes like a Wraith King and a Sven. If a Sven or indeed a Wraith King uses their Q to stun the offlaner and you throw an Inkswell on them, that's plenty. That's going to be enough to condition the Inkswell.
Yeah, and that's the way you said Jug. I forgot that Jug is a really good one because you can cast it while he's spinning, and then he gets faster.
So good. Such an absurd combo. Yeah. And also, I mean, another thing worth mentioning, I'm always going to be a fan of a hero that hard counters Broodmother. You can get a fat Stroke of Fate on all of those spiders, and you're going to be getting a nice gold influx.
Yeah. You just... So, like, in League of Legends, like, poke is like a concept, right? Where you're just poking people with your spells.
Right.
Because they have lower cooldown spells and whatnot. And it feels like Grimstroke, his Stroke of Fate, is like this great...
The ultimate poke, yeah.
It's like this poke spell, super low cooldown, super long range, and someone's like sieging, and I mean, if they're like slow sieging over a 20-second period, you've thrown out 3 or 4 Stroke of Fates, you've knocked them down to like half health, and they're like, we just can't do this anymore. Like, we had to go away because this guy's nuking us from 2,000 range and killing our lane in one hit. So
yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the only way we've won RD2L games. It feels like it's just coming back with Grimstroke combos because you can just annihilate.
Yeah, well, to be fair, yeah, it's worth saying we've talked about how the hero is at the very least viable, if not actually good, even if you often don't have these combos. But that just shows how good he can be when you do have the combos. I mean, if you're running a Grimstroke Doom, you have a way to win every team fight if you can condition this Soulbind Doom.
Grimstroke Doom is probably one of the weakest lane combos I've played in, it feels like, a long time. It just doesn't.
Doom, yeah,
it just doesn't do anything. And so, yeah, that's why my teams would go like 25k down, is because this lane was so bad. But that's also why we were able to come back, is because, okay, they have a 25k gold lead. Okay, I soulbind 2 of their cores, we doom them, and now we're even on gold because your stuff doesn't do anything. So it kind of goes both ways.
For sure. I really like Grimstroke with Alina as well. The double Laguna is always a nice one as well.
I like I want to do like a 3, like if you have a 5 Grimstroke, do like a 3 Darkseer and with the Sven or something. So you can do like vacuum latch, double stun, and you just hit like a million. You hit the whole team basically.
Double damage, two Stormhammers worth of damage as well.
Yeah.
No, it's nice. Bane, I feel like this Bane hero he functions basically the same as that he has done for a long time, in that he's just a high armor utility support hero that you can't really trade with. He's basically untradeable in the lane, so he's really strong in that sense, and just doesn't need any farm to get value out of his spells, and so it seems to me like he'll always, at least in his current form, have some kind of place in the meta. It feels like this hero that you just can't go wrong with, especially in a pub setting. Perhaps in a pro games you don't want to first pick him, but I think in a pub setting you can't really go wrong with a Bane. He's just that good at trading, and his spells are always going to be strong in a game. I don't know what your feelings are on Bane. I don't know if this is a hero that you play a lot. Or...
He's a little, like, if you get Bane from behind is really hard. Like, he doesn't like shove waves or like D-push. But, I mean, he's got good spells in a vacuum. I mean, Nightmare is a great like stun / save.
Yeah.
You just like take somebody out of the fight for like 8 seconds, which is really good, or save your teammate from a targeted stun. And I mean, Fiend's Grip, super strong, especially if you land your Enfeeble, yeah. And I think people have been getting Enfeeble in lane a lot more, right, than Nightmare.
Yeah, they have been. If you're against like cores that basically completely rely on their high right click damage to secure CS, then yeah, you can pop Enfeeble on, make their life a lot harder in the laning stage.
Yeah, and then make your spells last even longer later in the game. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I know, but playing Bane from behind is quite rough, but I certainly know the feeling. Sometimes you just feel like a walking Fiend script on like a 100 second cooldown or whatever it is, 110.
Yeah, it's a hero that like your positioning has to be on point. So if you think the hero is weak or you're dying a lot, you're just not positioned right. Because solo makes it work.
Yeah. And an Aether Lens helps your life quite a lot.
Yeah, I do like he's got a cast range talent and Aether Lens, and that he's just like really strong at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like honestly there's not a lot to say about Bane. I don't think a lot has changed with him. I feel like he does the same sort of stuff as before, and he's just always a pretty solid position 5 hero that you can feel free to pick. I don't know if you would think there's any situations or heroes that he does particularly well against, or what kind of situations you want to pick a Bane in, or is he just like, I don't know what to pick, Bane? Is that sort of his role? And
he's when you want to lock down, so it's like Ember, Pango,
right,
BKB, Piercing, Lifestealer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what he's best at, is space control, lockdown.
Yeah. His best matchup is actually Timbersaw, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, he does
62% win rate.
He does drain mana a little bit from his Fiend script. That's pretty relevant as well against a lot of heroes.
It's another Grimstroke combo, the double Fiend script.
Yeah, that's actually...
You're running your Grimstroke position 4, I suppose.
I don't mind 4 Grimstroke. I feel like you could do a lot worse you could pick a lot worse of a 4.
Yeah. No, I agree, for sure. And Bane's a reasonably strong laner. And Grimstroke can be somewhat of a strong laner sometimes. So you could probably get away with a 4-5 Grimstroke Bane in the right situation. But yeah, Bane's going to be there. I don't expect Bane to go anywhere. He'd have to be nerfed to go anywhere. He's not the most popular hero at the moment, for sure, but he's there or thereabouts. He's always an option. Not necessarily always a good option, but he's always an option. Like I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the DotA buff post, CM, this is a hero that, if I can find my stats, this hero has a 54% win rate in pubs. Seems to be coming back into the pro scene a little bit. I don't know if you have any thoughts about exactly why you think CM's seeing a bit more success. Is it just what do you think about the hero in general?
Aura power.
Aura. When the aura's good, CM's good, sort of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like CM and melee heroes. Name a better combo. Just Stormhammer, Wraithfire Blast. If Slark comes back, Dark Pact, Pounce. Just spam. Ember Spirit, Bristleback. Everybody, right? But just people that have big, spells that they want to, especially stuns. More stuns you get to cast in the lane, the more kills you get to have.
Yeah. I think like the classic, the most powerful carry hero at the moment is definitely Sven. He's first phase banned or picked in every game at Epicenter that I've seen. Certainly the impression I've got. Wraith King, another extremely popular carry hero. And both these heroes fit the description that you've been talking about, having a low cooldown stun that they basically want to use in lane as much as possible. When you've got this arcane aura, it just enables you so much more, both in the lane and in the mid game. So it seems natural and understandable that CM's coming back into it. Another thing of note, like you were saying, just in terms of the power of this aura, I think almost always this aura has 3 points by level 5. You know,
Yeah.
I think CMs are always maxing the aura. It's just fully enable mode. Gone are the days where Crystal Nova was this incredible scaling spell that it was for a while when CM saw that initial upsurge, probably about, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. I don't know. I can't remember when that Crystal Nova
About a
patch
year.
was. Yeah, I think it was about a year. Goodness me, I'm getting old. But yeah, about a year ago. I think now it is back to just aura gaming and
Yeah, I definitely 3 points in it by 5. I leave it at 3 though.
yeah.
Yep. I think it's done its job at that point. I think it's a little bit of a trap to put the point in at 7. I mean, it depends, but I mean, your spells are very good. They all scale very well. So the quicker you can get points in them, the better. And it's really, I feel like it's all about who you're against. Frostbite is such a good lockdown spell that it should be secondary matched a lot of the time.
Right.
If you're against the Ember, if you're against the Slark, against the Ursa, against just somebody that's going to run at you, the Storm Spirit, if you can land it on Storm Spirit, it locks them down for so long, and they don't expect it to be maxed like that either. So they just play aggressive, and
they're suddenly rooted for 3 seconds.
And you definitely do get the ult at 6 now. I used to not do that, but it's just too good. It's been buffed. It's been buffed too much.
Okay. Yeah. With
I mean,
the armor
you do not have a lot of mana pool, but it's a worthwhile spell for sure, because either you bait out a stun that's not being used on a core, or they just try and right click you and you just have so much armor that you just get to live and deal so much damage and slow.
What is your opinion on this level 10? First of all, so the choice is between 100 cast range and 250 health. The first question would be, which one of those do you think you favour in like a normal game? And also, are you always picking this talent at level 10, or are you thinking about skipping it? I've seen a couple of CMs skip it and get it at level 14. So a bit of a double question.
I guess you could skip it. I'd have to revisit that. I always have gotten it at 10. And I would say like 80-20 I go cast range, because I feel like I can get away with it instead of health. Some games you are going to get blown up and the health is good, especially if you go like some bracers or something. You can be surprisingly tanky. But she does, like, if I feel that I need to lock down an enemy core, I'm going to get cast range. Even if it means I die, if I get like a 3-second frostbite on a core in a good spot, then I think it's worth.
No, I would tend to agree as well. I think you can get away with the cast range. Although, to be fair, leaving the Arcane Aura at level 3 is not something I've thought about before. I mean, I don't play CM a ton, but it's definitely something that I'll think about next time, because looking at the spell, it does kind of make sense, I suppose. I mean, the self-mana regen, it really doesn't make a difference, really. Whether you have 6.5 or 8.5 is not going to make a ton. You may as well keep it at the level 3. And then you're only adding 0.5 for your allies, which is the same amount that you're adding at every level from level 1 onwards. Yeah. So, yeah.
And it's most valuable early.
Yeah, another point, yeah. I mean, out of the 6 that we talked about Abaddon, Oracle, Bane, Grim, Warlock, CM. Do you think... Which of these heroes do you think is the most worthy first pick? Like, as in, the least situational?
Warlock.
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree. Is it just because his ult is just always...
Not a lot of 5s have such a big impact ult. So
yeah,
it's a safe get every game.
And I feel like...
Something to contend with every game.
Yeah, no, I agree. The ult is so strong. Just in terms of counter initiation, like combo breaking. If any of your cores are ever in a lot of trouble, you throw down this ult, and it often just gives that second and a half stuns on such a big AoE that it lets your cores get the BKB off or get the pipe off, get their spell, you know, like all of these things that are super important. I think this is I think what I'm basically repeating what they said about Warlock in the Dota buff article, but I'll say it because it's true. So that's the things with Warlock. Another thing also is it's so hard to lose a Warlock lane. So it's safe in that sense as well. Like it's just hard to lose a Warlock lane. You just spam Shadow Word and you do a bit of harass with your Fatal Bonds, and you're probably going to be fine. So it's pretty safe in that sense as well. Beyond that, I do think you can probably first pick an Oracle. It depends to what extent you want to sort of deny the classic heroes that Oracle counters, like a Darkseer and Lember and stuff like that. But if you are competent with Oracle, I wouldn't see any reason not to just go ahead and first pick it. I don't know what your opinions are on Abaddon in terms of first pick, but I feel like with the sort of changes in the meta and obviously the slight nerfs that he's had to his cast range and stuff, I don't know if I'd be as eager to just straight up first pick this hero than I would be in the past.
Yeah, it's not as a guarantee. I think like he's not amazing in every lane now. So you maybe need to see one or two picks. Like you can get away with, so Oracle and Warlock first picks are like super strong, and then Grimstroke is pretty safe. Like you're not going to get destroyed for the most part, and it does like stop people from picking certain things. And CM is a classic first pick.
Yeah. CM's
so I guess
like
that leaves
the good guy first pick.
Yeah, it leaves like Abaddon and Bane. I kind of want to wait a little bit to pick Bane.
What kind of opening would turn you off picking Bane? What don't you want to pick Bane into?
Spirit Breaker. Something that runs at you. He really, same as like Lich. Lich does not do well against people running at them.
Right.
Like someone that's like a team that's going to like group up and just take all your towers. Like that's the worst for a Bane.
Right.
There's just nowhere for you to maneuver around a tower and like get a solid ult off.
Yeah. I guess conditioning you're always important on Bane, more so than back in a while ago when he was just this insanely solid trading support in the lane. Now conditioning those spells is a little bit more important, especially the way they've changed Enfeeble to be this negative status resistance spell malarkey or whatever.
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit more important that you can get this solid fiend script off. Or, you know, Brain Sap is great in the lane, but even a level 4 Brain Sap going later into the game is like, you know, great. I don't particularly care. So I guess the later the game goes on, the more and more it's about landing this ultimate with Enfeeble. But that can be said about a lot of these heroes. Obviously the ultimate tends to be what gives the hero utility going forward. Perhaps only Abaddon doesn't particularly fit that niche.
Yeah, he's more purging off. His ultimate's kind of Aphotic Shield, feels like.
Yeah. No, I agree. I, for one, will be super interested to see how the whole meta shapes at the end of this Epicenter Major, not least of which the supports. Hopefully, Adam, you can catch a bit of the games on the weekends.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, we'll have to see who makes it. Hopefully there'll be some interesting teams in the final.
Birthday weekend, Kappa.
Oh, hello. Birthday pod, ?
Birthday pod. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll have to list my top 29 favorite heroes.
Yeah, 29 heroes for 29. And it'll be a 29-minute episode. No, it'll be longer than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully you'll have a Discord full of... I'm sure you have a Discord full of people saying, happy birthday, come dine with me. But yeah. We'll
and I won't be able to see it because it's blocked in the school. It feels good.
We'll fall on empty ears. But yeah, that's Ep 31, support in the meta. Join us again on Tuesday's episode for Ep 32.
Oh, I said we'll shoot for more like long form, in depth something. I think for the next episode.
Yeah,
or two.
yeah. No, it's worth saying. This was more of like a meta review kind of app.
It's just short something for your Friday commute, not like a a nice little something to think about for the weekend, not like a super in depth.
Yeah, not like a gain 100 MMR with this episode. Like,
yeah,
this is like a gain a little 10 MMR. I don't know. We'll see. Every little counts though. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks Adam for joining me, and thanks to you listener for joining me too. We'll see you on Tuesday for Act 32, but until then, bye bye.